I think the law of attraction has been pretty much overutilized, but let's think about it like this. I mean, let's ask the question. I mean, how can you give someone a sugar pill or a saline injection or perform false surgery or procedure? And a certain percentage of those people will accept, believe, and surrender to the thought that they're getting the actual substance or treatment. And they begin to program their autonomic nervous system to make their own pharmacy of chemicals that matches the exact same chemical they think they're taking.
Hello guys. For most of the people there comes a moment at some point where they say, come on, I feel like I don't have any control over my life. I feel so powerless. You couldn't be more wrong. You're absolutely powerful. You're pure power, as Dr. Joe Dispenza will explain in a few seconds. The reason it sometimes seems that you're powerless is because of your beliefs and perceptions. Because in fact, you're the master of this 3D reality. You're creating every second of your life. If you want to know how everything works, take 10 minutes of your time and enjoy this amazing speech by Joe Dispenza. Before I leave you with Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you love his work and you don't want to miss my new videos, hit that subscribe button and the bell button next to it. Enjoy.
So the question is the substance that's doing the healing, or is it the thought that's doing the healing? So then that pill is a symbol, and that symbol represents a new potential in the quantum field called getting healthy. The doctor's enthusiastic, and they tell him what the pill does, and the person's in the right state of mind. The person will begin to feel hopeful and inspired, and start to feel gratitude and joy, and start to feel free, and start to feel better. And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you begin to change a person's biology from moving into the past to moving into the future. An elevated emotion, a heart-centered emotion, like gratitude or thankfulness or appreciation or love or joy or inspiration or empowerment. And it's that combination of a clear intention, which is an act of the mind, an elevated emotion, which is the language or the vocabulary of the body, that begins to change a person's state of being, because thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. So most people, their brain is organized to reflect everything they know in their life. Their brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact. So then most people think in the past, and feelings and emotions are the end product of past experiences. So if you're feeling the same way every single day, it means nothing new is happening in your life. And if those feelings are driving your thoughts, then you're thinking in the past. So most people's biology is, for the most part, living in the past. So then, when you begin to combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, a person can begin to move their biology from living in the past to living in the future. Here's an example. 81% of people that are in a depression study that are given a placebo, 81% of those people respond as well as the people that are given the drug, which means they're making their own pharmacy of antidepressants. Their brain is the greatest pharmacist there ever was, and their brain already knows how to make those chemicals because there's receptor sites in the brain that receive those chemicals. So then the problem is that most people do it once or twice and they give up. But I mean, even in the depression studies, those studies went on for 6 to 8 weeks, and every day they were reconditioning their body to a new mind and beginning to select a new potential and change their brain. So then it may take 6 to 8 weeks for people to begin to change their own state of being and begin to make their own balance in their body. And we've seen it happen over and over again. So you can only accept, believe, and surrender to thoughts that are equal to your emotional state. And you'll never accept, believe, and surrender to any thoughts that are not equal to your emotional state. So a person gets a diagnosis. Diagnosis is cancer, MS, or lupus. The immediate emotion they feel is fear or sadness. And so then they are going to try to think positively, but their body's feeling negatively. Their body's feeling fear. They're going to try to say, I'm going to beat this and I'm going to overcome it, but they're feeling sad and depressed. And that's mind and body in opposition. Once a person begins to change their emotional state, and they start feeling empowered or feeling gratitude or feeling joy, they will accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to that emotional state. That switch gets flipped, and they begin to program their autonomic nervous system to make a different pharmacy of chemicals that begins to change the body. So getting the person beyond their emotional body, beyond their emotional state, is really the work. First step is knowledge, Michael. I think most people don't even know that they feel guilty. They don't even know that they feel unworthy. They don't even know that they feel depressed or feel victimized, because 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors and emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, subconscious. Yeah, pretty much on autopilot. That's 95% of most people. So the 5% is working against 95% of what they've memorized subconsciously. So the first step then is becoming conscious of your unconscious thoughts, becoming aware of your automatic behaviors, and then noticing and paying attention to the emotions that you feel every day. And as you begin to observe those states of mind and body, it means you're no longer the program. Now you're the consciousness observing the program, and you begin to objectify your subjective self. You begin to pull out of your biology. So awareness then is the first step. So then, most people, once they become conscious that they're living by certain emotions, the next question are, what are those emotions? And those emotions typically are connected to some past experience. Like, I'm this way because I got fired from my job 10 years ago. I am this way because my husband left me with 3 children. I am this way because I was in a serious accident 15 years ago. I am this way because I had this event happen to me. So then, what that means from a biological standpoint is that that person has had a reaction to some experience. That once you feel a change in your internal chemistry emotionally, and you feel altered, you pay attention to what caused it in your outer environment. The brain takes a picture, and that's called the memory. So then we begin to remember the reasons why we are the way we are because of the past. But if you're still living by that emotion and it's 15 years later, from a biological standpoint, it means you haven't changed. The next point is the survival emotions, the emotions that are derived from the hormones of stress, are very addictive. Anger is addictive, fear is addictive, sadness is addictive, resentment is addictive, competition is addictive, frustration is addictive. All of those emotions that are derived from the hormones of stress give the brain and body a rush of energy. So if an addiction is something you can't stop, and you happen to have a friend or a family member who's walking around suffering every single day of their life, and you say to them, why don't you stop? Or you're in the middle of an angry experience, and I say to you, Michael, why don't you just stop being angry? If you can't stop that, then on some level you're addicted, because an addiction is something you can't stop. So when people start to understand, oh my God, I'm addicted to my own frustration, I'm addicted to my own suffering, I'm addicted to my own guilt, all of a sudden they start becoming conscious of what they're doing to their brain and body. Show them how those very chemicals downregulate genes to create disease, and then get them beyond that by doing meditation. That's the moment that all of a sudden they begin to be greater than their biology. And we've measured this thousands of times in people, and it's without a doubt, I can say this from every single cell in my being, that a person is at their absolute best when they get beyond themselves. That's the bottom line. 70% of the time people are living by the hormones of stress, whether they know it or not. They're always anticipating the future based on the past. They're always having their attention on objects and people and things and places in the world, because that's where the danger is. The chemicals are jacking up their body, so their attention is on their body. So they think, based on their own experience, that they're their body, but they're not. They believe that they're their identity that's connected to relationships with people and things and places in their life, but they're not. Then when people start to live on autopilot and they get out of bed the same way, and they brush their teeth with the same hand, or they do all the same things every single day, and they've been doing that for 20 or 30 years, for the most part then, their body's on autopilot. It's in a predictable future based on what it's done in the past. So very few people are in the present moment. So then they're locked into a line of time, a linear line of time, where their future and their past seem to be exactly the same. So not a lot of people are present or in the present moment. And if you're not in the present moment, I assert that you're running some type of program, which means you're not present. The body's already programmed to be in the future or in the past. So then, in an elegant moment of meditation, and we can predict this now on a brain scan, there comes a moment where a person forgets about their body. They're so involved in their inner world that there is no body. They forget that they are an identity. They're not paying attention to the people they know and the places they go and the things they have to do or the things they own. They become no one. They become no thing. They go to nowhere, and they forget about their appointments in their past, and they become no time. And that is the moment they become pure consciousness. That is the moment that they begin to disconnect from their biology. And who you are, to answer that question, is a consciousness that's manipulating the brain and body to produce different levels of mind. And only when you are pure consciousness can you begin to change your body. Only when you are beyond your body can you heal your body. The body can't heal the body. You have to get beyond your body to heal your body. In order for you to create some new experience in your life, you got to get beyond the problems in your life. In order for you to create some new future event in some future time, you got to get beyond predictable linear time. And so, if you're going to heal your body by thought alone, if you're going to create some experience in your life by thought alone, if you are going to create some new event in your future by thought alone, then you have to become thought alone. And that is the moment when you become pure consciousness, where you are nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time. That is the moment that you're no longer constrained by those laws. That is the moment your consciousness, free-willed, subjective human consciousness, merges with the quantum field, the objective universal consciousness. And when they come together, and you come back to awareness, you take a piece of it with you, and you become more like it. You become more willful. It has an amazing will. You become more mindful. It has an infinite mind. You become more conscious. It has a great consciousness. You become more loving. It's a lover of life. You become more giving. It's a giver of life. Its nature becomes your nature. And so, teaching people how to do that is the art. So then, when you understand that we now know that there's certain ways to do that help people get there faster.